What's up with it, Raider Nation? It's your boy, Raider Honcho, and I'm back with a brand new video. Before we get into the video, if you like the Las Vegas Raiders and you want to support this channel, please subscribe. Okay, now, today's video is going to be really special because I'm going to do something new. At least I think it's new, right? So mock drafts are really popping right now. I just did a mock draft last week, I believe. A lot of people doing mock drafts. And if you follow Las Vegas Raiders on YouTube, you know Mitchell Renz and the Las Vegas Raiders report over there at Chat Sports. And obviously I support them. I rock with them. Mitch is a cool dude on camera. I never met him. I don't know him. But he actually did a mock draft 2 weeks ago, I believe. And I thought it'd be a cool idea if I went through and graded each of his picks and gave him a final grade at the end. All right, so obviously, mock drafts, everybody has their own way of doing it. Everybody has their own technique. I just thought it'd be a fun idea to go through his draft, all right, and give you some type of context, give you my opinion on the people he's picking, the picks he's making, when he's making them, and give some type of grade. And then at the end, give a final grade. And like I said, I put a mock draft out there last week. I welcome anybody to watch it, dissect it, critique it, whatever you want to do. I mean, it's all fun and games. And I'm sure we'll do many more of them, right? Like, it's not just one and done, okay? So let's get right into it, all right? So Mitchell Renz over there at the Las Vegas Raiders report did his draft last week. And in round one, with pick number 17, he selected Gregory Rousseau, defensive end, Miami. Now, I like the pick. I think it's a good pick. You can't really complain about it, right? But the thing is, and you can see up here, I'll put it up there if I'm allowed to put it up there. I'm trying. You'll see he has like the 4 players he picked from, right? He didn't do this for all the picks, but he did it for the first 2 rounds. He put 4 players up there. I think what's interesting, if you look at the graphic, is that you'll see that Koromoa from Notre Dame, the linebacker, is actually on the board. And I just think, in my opinion, that's who I'm taking, right? I'm taking him over Rousseau. That's just my personal preference. There's nothing wrong with the Rousseau pick. I just think that the linebacker is super fast, super quick, and I think it's a little safer bet, right? I think we know what we're getting with him. Like, we're getting the best linebacker in the nation. Rousseau didn't play in 2020. Of course, he has all the measurables, right? He has the side, he has the length. He has a lot of things to be a dominant defensive end, but, like, it's just not enough tape for me to go off of to feel that comfortable picking a defensive end there, right? I mean, whether you like them or not, we already have 2 young defensive ends in Farrell and Max Crosby. So I feel like an immediate need would have been more of a defensive tackle or a safety. And if you're not going to go with one of those, it has to be somebody we know is a sure hit. And I just like the linebacker from Notre Dame. I would try to say his name, but everybody knows it's really hard to say his name. But we all know who I'm talking about, okay? I just feel like with that pick at 17, if I'm not going to pick a DT and I'm not going to pick a safety, I'm probably going to go with somebody I feel safe about, somebody I feel like we're going to get production out of right away. And I think that Koromoa is definitely that pick. But overall, I like the pick. I thought it was a good pick, solid pick. I'm actually going to give that a B+, okay? So for the first round, pick 17, I'm giving Mitch a B+, man. Good job, Mitch. All right, round number 2, he selected Javon Holland Db out of Oregon. Now, I love Mitch. I love the channel, but I don't love this pick. And the main reason why I don't like this pick is because Mitch is drafting him as a free safety. But in my opinion, he's not a natural free safety, and he's probably not going to play safety in the NFL. Now, I could be wrong, right? This is just from what I've been watching, the tape I've been watching on him. He just doesn't seem like a natural safety to me. He's probably going to play more in the nickel or in the slot cornerback position. And if you look at it like that, if he's another corner, he doesn't feel an immediate need for us. Again, we need a defensive tackle. We need some linebacker help. We need safety help, right? This is a guy who's not super athletic. He runs a 4.7 in the 40, and he's a little slow in and out of his breaks, all right? He's not a receiver, but what I mean by that is that he doesn't accelerate through the breaks when a receiver is running routes. He gets out of the breaks, but he doesn't get out of them smooth. He doesn't get out of them fast. He has good hips, though. That's why I don't understand. I don't know if it's an effort thing. Maybe that's something he will gradually pick up on, but the main reason why I don't love this pick, and if you look at the graphic up here again, I don't know if my fingers lined up to it. It might even be over there. I don't even know. But if you look at the graphic, you'll see who is on the board. And if you look closely, you see Davion Nixon is on the board. And if you watch my mock draft, you know that I actually had this guy ranked really high, graded really high, and he feels an immediate need for us. Nixon is arguably top 2 best defensive tackles in this draft. and he's on the board. He feels an immediate need, probably a day one starter, and you choose Javon Holland, who I don't even have as the top 5 safety or cornerback. So I just don't like this pick for that reason mostly. And just think about it. If you went Russo number 1 and you got Davion Nixon number 2, you already win the draft, Mitch. Like, you already win the draft. And like, I don't know why I'm saying your name like I know you. I just know people watching this know you, okay? So no disrespect, brother. But if you went Russo and then came back and got Nixon in the second round, yo, A+ draft, it's already done. All right, but instead you chose to go DB. I know why you went DB. I just don't think in this particular spot I would take Holland, only because once you decided you're not going to go safety in the first round, you're playing the depth of the position, and you'll grab somebody later, but you cannot pass up on Davion Nixon in the second round. So for the Javon Holland pick, I'm giving him a C- on that. And again, you guys have to understand that I'm not grading the players. I'm grading the pick. So you might see somebody that's a good player and I give them a lower grade. It's not grading the players, grading the pick and where you took the player, okay? Javon Holland is a fine player, but where you took him and what was on the board, I'm going to give you a C- for that. All right, so round 3, keep it moving along. This is where he decides to take a defensive tackle, Marvin Wilson, out of FSU, and I don't love this pick at all. Okay, right off the bat, it's going to be hard for me to like this pick just because you're taking the DT in the 3rd. That is so much worse than the DT you could have gotten in the 2nd. I know I'm being biased because I love Davion Nixon, but like, it's just hard for me to like this pick just off of that, right? He's marginally worse than Nixon is, and you could have had Nixon. So when you pass up a guy like that in the 2nd and pick a guy like Marvin Wilson in the 3rd, I just have a problem with that. Wilson is coming off of an injury. And to be quite honest, when I watch the tape of him, when I watch a lot of his film, the motor just isn't there for me, right? It's not every play consistent motor. At times he looks a little lazy. Now, not only that, I just don't know if that he's going to be someone who gives us production right away. And I think in the 2nd and 3rd round, you need production, guys. I know we're looking for value, and I always preach value, but you also have to pick the best player available at some point. And I just don't know on his board if this was the best player available. I can't see how it would have been. And again, he passed up on Nixon in the 2nd round. So I just can't get with this pick. So I'm going to actually give this grade a D. I'm going to give the Marvin Wilson a D. And remember, I am not grading the player. I am grading the pick. You got to understand that, all right? So moving right along in round 4, he decides to go cornerback again and get Paulson Adebo from Stanford. And now, this is a good player, all right? This is actually a good player, but I'm not a fan of the pick only because you've essentially already drafted now 2 DBs. Two DBs that I don't know are going to start at all, right? I actually have Adebo graded outside of my top 150. I think PFF has him somewhere around 150. But I also graded Trill Williams higher than him, right? And if you watch my mock draft, I'll put the card up there. If you watch my mock draft, you'll see that I took Trill Williams in the 7th round. So if I have Trill Williams graded higher than him, and I took him 3 rounds after him, well, then it's hard for me to, really agree with this pick and like this pick. I do like the player, though. I mean, he had a great 2018 season, but 2019 was really up and down. I mean, he didn't play consistent as well. He had a lot of sloppy technique in 2019, and that was before his season ended with an injury, right? So he showed the sloppy technique at times in 2020 as well. He didn't really, you don't really know what version you're going to get of him, right? He was good in 2018, 2019, up and down, then gets injured. 2020, not the best. So I'm not taking 2 DBs in the first 4 rounds unless they're sure hits, and I just don't know if Adebo is. I mean, last year, he probably would have been a much higher pick, and he was obviously graded higher. He does add depth to this position, but at this point, that's all you've added is some depth. And I think that when you look at the Wilson pick, I think that's what you got, right? Let me check real quick. I don't want to be tripping. So, yeah, when you take the Marvin Wilson pick on top of the Adebo pick, it's to me you got 2 guys just from depth, and you're not adding any immediate production for me in those 2 picks. But I like the player, so I'm going to give him a C- on that. So, Mitch, your round 4 pick is a C-. Not doing bad, man. You're not doing bad, and this is all respect. All right. And credit to you because you did this draft before me, and so obviously I had more film to go off. Obviously, I was, evaluating players long before I did my mock draft. But, kudos to you because you jumped out the window and did it first. So, obviously, hindsight is 2020, right? Your 5th round, you decided to draft Haskell Garrett, defensive tackle from Ohio State. if you watch my video, you know I had him on one of the top, when I did a video on 3 players the Raiders should consider drafting at DT in the later rounds. He was one of them, and then I found out he actually is not going to be in the draft. He's actually decided to return to school. So I'm not even going to give you a grade. I'm not going to get into this pick. You're going to get incomplete for that. It's not going to go against you, because this would have been one of the picks I love from you, right? Because you get him in the 5th round. I would have loved that pick, but unfortunately, he's going to stay in school, right? So let's move right to round 6. Round 6, he decides, Mitch takes Paris Ford, safety, out of Pitt. Okay, I actually like this pick a lot. I think his best pick since the 1st round. All right, Mitch. So since your first pick, this is probably your best pick since then. With that being said, it is another DB. You've drafted 3 DBs in the first 6 rounds. And Paris plays very inconsistent. Okay, and we already have that issue with Abram. We have that issue with Mullen and definitely Arnett. We already have enough inconsistency in our defensive backfield. I think we need some more credibility. So obviously, if we got some people out of free agency, we wouldn't have to draft so heavy DB. So I understand. Like I said, you did this a couple weeks ago, so you don't have all the free agent news that I had when I did my draft. But I do think he adds depth to our secondary, but I believe secondary is where we'll be aggressive in free agency, so we won't need to get excessive with the DB picks. Now, although I like the player, again, I'm not grading the player. I am grading the pick, and I'm going to give you a C, a solid C, maybe a C+. I round you. I'll give you the curve. I'll give you a C+ for that pick, all right? Because I don't hate it. I don't hate it. It's just that, I mean, again, we didn't get any DTs that can play immediately, right? We don't got any linebackers in this draft that I feel can play immediately, right? We got Russo, who we're not sure what we're getting, and that's about it so far, right? So let's go to our 7th round. 7th round, Mitch decided to take Javon Hawkins, running back, Louisville. By the way, disclaimer, I'm terrible at pronouncing names. I am so terrible at pronouncing names. I actually sometimes have to write the names differently so I pronounce them the right way. But Javon Hawkins, running back, Louisville. I mean, it's the 7th round, right? You're going to take a flyer on somebody, and literally, he is a flyer. I mean, he runs like a 4.37 in the 40. But in my opinion, you're talking about replacing Booker, who's a free agent, and the things that Booker is really good at is pass blocking and catching out of the backfield, which are probably 2 things that Hawkins is not really good at, right? So when you look at this pick, and I know Mitch wanted like a gadget type player, so he took him. So I can't be mad at him for that. If that's what you want for the team that you're drafting for at this point, you're the GM and you want a gadget player, somebody you can go in there and run reverses to and tosses to. Obviously, that's what you said. I watched the video. But I just don't think this is a guy you're going to get immediate production out of. And when you're talking about drafting, you have to talk about production. You have to talk about immediate production. Like, this is a team that needs players that can step up. Now, he's a running back. We already have a stud running back. But when you're talking about replacing our second string running back or our 3rd down running back, he has to be able to pass block and he has to be able to catch out of the backfield, and I just don't think Hawkins provides that for us. So my overall grade for the Hawkins pick is going to be a D. All right, I don't like that pick at all. All right, so we got all the grades, and the way we're going to do the grades is just like college or just like high school. A would be a 4.0 and a D would be a 1.0. We're going to add all the grades together, and then we're going to average them out and give Mitchell Renz a final grade, okay? You know, Raider Honcho is tough with the grades, man. So the overall thought of this draft by Mitch, I thought it was a good draft. I mean, it's a solid draft. Obviously, it's his first one. He's going to probably hear a lot of free agent stuff and be able to change some of the picks he would have made. I just think the game of these players don't match the name of the players. And what I mean by that is some of these players are very popular and have a big name, but I just don't think the game matches that, right? I don't think the big name guys always have the tape to justify the picks, okay? So the draft isn't terrible by any means, but it just doesn't fill many immediate needs for us. I don't see a lot of production coming from this draft, all right? I like Russo, but after that, I don't see the immediate production where you can plug a guy in. I mean, you drafted 3 DBs, but none of them are true safeties, right? We need a ball hawking safety. We need a DT. I don't think you secured a DT in this. I do think you took care of the edge need, but there were just so many more needs. So when you put all the grades together, my final grade for Mitchell Renz over there, the great people of the Las Vegas Raiders report, is going to be a solid C-, okay? Now, I know some of you guys might hate it. Some of you guys might think it's justified. Put it down in the comments. Let me know what you think about Mitchell Renz's pick and what you think about my grades for him. Was I too harsh? Was I right on? Could I have done better? Remember, guys, A lot of you don't know this, but I am a high school football coach, so I don't break down film for YouTube, right? That's not what I always break down film. Like, that's something I really really like to do, and I take pride in being able to break down film and find tendencies and strengths and weaknesses. So this is not me grading a draft based on who the media tells me I should pick or who ESPN tells me I should pick. I really don't watch none of that. I come up with my own criteria of how I grade players, and then I might bounce it off of PFF, who I think is very credible, and it adds some validity to what I'm thinking, right? So just understand that. Remember, I'm not grading the players, I'm grading the picks and where you take them at. So that's what I got for you in this video. Mitchell Renz, you get a C-. Salute to you, my brother. It's all love, and I you know, I would love for you to watch my mock draft and maybe give me a grade and see how that works out. So if you like the video, like the video. If you like the content on this channel, please subscribe to the channel. It really helps your boy Raider Honcho out, okay? So I got a lot of stuff coming up for you the next couple of days. I'm figuring out my rotation of how I'm going to drop videos. I got a lot of content coming up. But yeah, man, I appreciate everybody. We're about to hit 1,000 subscribers. It's only been a month since I started my channel. So if I don't drop a video before then, I just want to thank everybody for subscribing, everybody who shared the links, everybody who's just showing so much love and support, man. I appreciate every last one of y'all. And until the next time, Raider Honcho out.